574, an important and timely piece of legislation introduced by the Honourable Member for York West, who's also known, of course, here as our critic on seniors and pensioners. This piece of legislation, known as the Pension Income Bill of Rights, has become very popular throughout the country because my colleague has in fact travelled throughout the country having discussions from coast to coast to coast on the importance of dealing with issues affecting seniors and pensioners. This is the first bill of its kind ever proposed to protect our seniors and their savings. The legislation proposes to enshrine in law the notion that all Canadians have the right to contribute to a decent retirement plan and to be provided with up-to-date, unbiased and conflict-free information on their retirement savings. Bill C-574 has been well researched and vetted. It is the product of months of research and consultations, both with legal experts, government officials, and most importantly, seniors and pensioners. The bill is a comprehensive piece of legislation that does not aim to simply change one thing or another. Rather, it is designed to address systematic and societal challenges relating to Canada's pension system and retirement income. In developing this particular bill, the Honourable Member for York West, who is, as I said, the official critic for seniors and pensions for the official opposition, went from coast to coast to coast. And I know because she spent time in my riding of Brandon Buren St. George's. And one troubling theme became obvious, I know, when she was in my riding, and it was clearly that Canadians are not saving enough for their retirement, not because they don't want to, Mr. Speaker, but simply because they can't afford to. And it's a sad reflection on our nation when our pensioners and our seniors are in such dire straits that they in fact have trouble contributing to their own savings and their own retirement incomes. It is a troubling trend, but fortunately here in this House of Parliament we do have the opportunity to change that. As legislators, we can directly affect that. As I think about, Mr. Speaker, the people that we met with in my riding and the difficulty that they encounter from day to day, whether it's in paying for high home heating costs, paying for increasing costs of gas, whether it's paying for electrical bills that are going up all the time, it's a sad reflection on where we are today that our seniors in a lot of cases have to leave their homes in the daytime to spend time in shopping malls just to keep warm, where they have to make decisions about whether or not they buy food or they buy medication or they heat their homes. But they can't do all three, again, because of their income. From old age security to the CPP and the supplement, we understand the extreme importance of protecting and preserving pension security and ensuring adequate coverage for all Canadians in the years after they stop working. Mr. Speaker, there are some dismal statistics to report. There are more than 200,000 Canadians over the age of 65 who live below the low-income cutoff line. In a country like Canada, it's disgraceful. The unfortunate part is that the government does not seem to be troubled by the situation. The government refers to programming and essential services through irresponsible corporate tax cuts worth billions, $6 billion a year to be precise. And this is to say nothing of the government's priorities to fund things like multi-billion-dollar fighter jet planes and US-style mega prisons. All of these initiatives, Mr. Speaker, pale in comparison when you consider the situation that our seniors find themselves in today. Statistics Canada tells us also that Canada's population over the age of 65 could reach an unprecedented 10.9 million by 2036. 75% of these people will not have an adequate source of retirement income. That is because most Canadians working in the private sector don't have a pension plan, are not saving enough, and are effectively prevented from accumulating the same retirement income as their public sector counterparts. With those numbers in mind, we have two choices. We can ignore the problem until it becomes a national crisis, or we can address it now before it becomes a crisis. Basic costs of living taking their toll on seniors and retired Canadians. And most Canadians working will be finding it harder and harder to get by on CPP unless the system is changed. Currently, individuals participating in generous defined benefit pension arrangements routinely accumulate 5 to 7 times more retirement income than those who do not. These defined benefit plans are available only to private sector workers and to a very small minority of private sector workers. This creates a large societal imbalance when it comes to retirement income. Public sector workers make up only a very small percentage of our population. Hard-working Canadians who spend a lifetime working in industries like the agricultural industry or in small business or as small business owners or who stay at home to care for children and families will not have the benefit and security of such generous pension plans. As it stands now, Mr. Speaker, the Income Tax Act states that you cannot have a generous defined benefit pension plan unless it is provided to you by your employer. Most employers in Canada do not provide for such a pension plan. This bill is concerned with creating the conditions in which all Canadians will have access to pension plans that help them save for a secure retirement. In particular, Sections 4 to 6 of Bill C-54 guarantee equality of opportunity. The bill will provide that any federal law that has the effect of restricting an individual's right to join a pension plan or flexibility to make the contributions necessary to accumulate an adequate retirement income would indeed be a violation of this bill. If Bill C-54 becomes law, it will be unlawful to prevent people from joining a pension plan or restrict their right to make contributions, subject to reasonable restrictions that will apply equally to all individuals. The Honourable Member's bill aims to eliminate the barriers that currently prevent the self-employed, fishers, farmers, homemakers, and all others in the workforce who do not now have access to pension plans that allow them to save effectively for retirement. Bill C-574 acknowledges that dignity in retirement is a right and that we as legislators should move to ensure that all will have such dignity through a secure and equitable retirement income regime. This bill will also ensure every Canadian will have access to effective retirement savings mechanisms. It does this through empowering people with detailed, up-to-date, conflict-free information about their financial future. The goal of this bill is simple, Mr. Speaker: to create substantive rights, to give every person a chance to accumulate retirement income in a plan that will be there in the long term, to promote good administration of retirement income plans, to ensure that members of retirement income plans regularly receive good, plain language information they need about their plans, and to set out in law the goals to which we aspire to legislatively as they relate to retirement income. Mr. Speaker, it is simply unacceptable that in this great and prosperous nation, many of our elderly people live in poverty or near poverty. The Liberal Party has always understood and has always championed the values of security, safety, and dignity. One of the most important aspects of this bill is about financial literacy. For the most part, Canadians are unsure as to the existence and/or impact of various tax provisions, savings vehicles, and/or estate planning options. It is widely accepted that Canadians collectively spend billions of dollars each year on service charges, interest expenses, fees, and lost income resulting entirely or in part from a lack of financial literacy. By providing greater access to timely and easily understandable financial management information, Canadians could save money which could be redirected to retirement savings. The Liberal Party fully supports strengthening our retirement systems. Pensions and their protection is a priority for us. The Conservative Party, on the other hand, has a history of opposing improvements in Canada's pension plans, of ignoring one of the most vulnerable groups in society. While we have an old age security and pension system that has served Canadians well in the past, the Liberal Party recognizes that there is a need to change and to improve upon the system that we have grown and nurtured over the years. As I meet with my constituents, Mr. Speaker, it becomes obvious that the need is great, and we need to deal with that. We need to start addressing these pension shortfalls today if we are to prevent a full-blown crisis in the years ahead. In closing, Mr. Speaker, the guiding principle behind this bill is a belief that a strong and secure retirement income system is essential to the well-being of Canadians. Hear, hear.